What is up, everybody? Welcome to Punk and Link. This is our first official show. I'm Link,
I'm Punk.
and today is kind of awkward for us in a little bit, in some senses, just because it's our first overall show. We're not really sure the exact direction we want to go with what we do, but we have a few things to bring up, and then inevitably, when our extreme ADHD kicks in and we wind up talking about the price of grass in Omaha, we will have hopefully filled this hour and a half time slot with stuff that you like to listen to and stuff that is good for you to interact with. So feel free to leave us comments down below. Give us your overall feedback. Go on the Facebook. Let us know what we're doing good, what we're doing wrong. All that stuff. We'll probably just delete it if it's a negative comment. Just kidding. But I figure, yeah. I figure it's Monday, so we'll start with a pretty basic section, I guess, which would be just to catch up kind of on what happened so far throughout our week or our weekend. And so, Punk, I guess if you want to start, bud. What did you do this weekend, and why was it so utterly exciting for you?
Well, I went to go work. I work at GameStop in a mall, and I went to work on Saturday. It was fun. It was all right. I need more hours though, so my boss is watching us. But I
like that plug.
Yeah, you gotta plug that in there to the actual boss. But for the most part, I think that I went and after work I went and hung out with a girlfriend and her sister. They were shopping for school stuff for college for her sister, and which is really good. Cool. Kids stay in school, important. So I stayed with them though, and they were shopping for 7 hours, and ooh, that was rough. I did a lot of walking, so it was like I was at Universal Studios. And Sunday was no different. They went and got their hair done. I was there for roughly about 3.5 hours.
Damn.
Each hour passing by, the scissors looked mighty inviting.
Or the barbicide.
Yeah. I was gonna drink hair care if I was gonna make it through. And that was about it. Then when we got home, we enjoyed ourselves. We were watching. We actually got home and went to sleep, and they started doing a bunch of other stuff. Like they were all up watching movies while me and my girlfriend went to bed. We woke up, and then I played a little bit of Splatoon 2 on the Nintendo Switch. It's a really fun game. So and then I'm here now. When I wake up in the morning, I left. Now we're recording.
Let me just ask you. I have so many questions, but let me limit it down to a couple. First, I'll start with an easy one. The video game aspect of that. You played a little bit of Splatoon 2. If I'm someone who is considering getting a Nintendo Switch, right? I've got the money set aside. I'm not sure if I want it yet, if I don't want it yet, or something. Is Splatoon 2 a game that would sell you on the Nintendo Switch as a console?
No. It wouldn't.
Now, I'd imagine you'd say yes to something like the Zelda game.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I was just curious at what level. If it's kind of like hey, this game is fun because I have the console, or if it's like, oh my God. Like, to me, what comes to mind is like Halo to Xbox, right? Halo literally made people buy the Xbox when it came out. So I wasn't sure if Splatoon was on that level for you, which I only ask such a ridiculous question because I've actually heard people say that it is. So I wanted to confirm my suspicions were true that it is not.
I like it, and it's really enjoyable. The app that they created for the Nintendo Switch to be able to talk to people is kind of shoddy. It doesn't work all the time. It's just one of those things where they're still learning with the Switch. And now put it this way, if you can find a Switch, I would probably buy it just to have it, because heaven only knows when more games come out for the console, it's going to be harder to find this Nintendo Switch. It's been out of stock for so long. The only way to get a hold of it is ordering online. then having it shipped to you, but nobody wants to wait that long. So
or buying it used.
Or buying it used.
Now
And
you work at GameStop.
yeah,
For those of you who don't know, Punk and I are relatively in the same area. We live about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from each other. Now in your area with your GameStop, I'm guessing by what you said, you're not getting any stock of these, or when you do, they're instantly gone. Are you
yeah,
getting any trade-ins on them, or?
no trade-ins. Not even the games. People are keeping the games too because there's nothing out for it. Now, when we start getting, towards next year or later on this year, you'll see more Legend of Zeldas on the shelf because people are going to swap that out probably for the new Super Mario Odyssey. They're going to swap them out for some of the other games. Even the Mario and Raving Rabbids little XCOM style game that's coming out later on this month is something that, or actually, I think it comes out this week.
Does it come out this month?
I think
I watched the whole special on it at E3, obviously.
it comes out this month, and within this week, actually, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
Yeah, comes out this month on the 29th. Is how when it comes out. So it does towards the tail end of this month, but a lot of people are going to be trying it out because it's Mario characters, Raving Rabbids, and XCOM all kind of thrown into one. So pretty neat little thing they have going on, and a lot of people are enjoying it. At least from some of the reviews, they're enjoying it. It's crazy, but it's meant to be that way. So, but yeah, with the Nintendo Switch, if you can find one, we don't get them in trades. We don't get them like very much in our store right now. The second they come in, they're gone. We don't get like 20 at a time, 30 at a time. Nintendo just isn't shelling out that much, and we're doing the same thing pretty much they did for the NES.
Right. So I got one thing to add on to that, and then I want to kind of move on. We gotta try to rein ourselves in, because we could probably talk about the Nintendo Switch just for an hour and a half and never get to anything else. One thing I want to add about the whole Mario game, I've heard a lot of people giving it a lot of crap, kinda, for the concept coming out, right? Because when you think Mario, you don't think that turn-based XCOM, like you said, style game. And I think people are excited for the collab with Rabbids, but I don't think they're too excited about that style. What I will say is one of the most fun games that I played as a kid with Nintendo was the what was it called? It was the one with Mario and Luigi. Was it Mario and Luigi Superstar or something like that? Where it was another turn-based one, but it was for the handheld. Superstar Saga. That's it. Yeah. That was one of the most fun games, and I never played a game like that before that. And I wasn't a huge fan of the turn-based kind of deal. So what I will say is we got to give it a chance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the last Mario thing I think that came out was probably the whole mobile thing, right? With the catastrophe that was.
Super Mario Run. That was.
Well,
a lot of pay to play.
150 million downloads it got, and then it pulled 3 million subscriptions.
Yeah.
And they were like, whoops.
Well, yeah, because you can't promise, that they can play this game, give them one level, and then the other 7 levels they have to pretty much purchase. I mean, that's right. They're not Angry Birds, and you can't expect yourself to be able to do that, and that's just it wasn't possible.
Right. Yep. So, but anyway, moving on. Like I said, now I want to revert back to what you said before. You went and sat with the girlfriend, and I believe you said her sister, right?
Yeah.
While they went shopping for 7 hours, and then hair for 3 hours. That's 10 hours of your weekend. That's a fourth of your physical time. Okay, so let's do some quick math. If you have a normal sleeping schedule, that puts it at 30 hours in the weekend, and then 10 hours you were doing this. So 1/3 of your entire weekend was made up of shopping and hair. First off, how does that make you feel? And second off, how happy are you to be in a relationship, Punk?
I'm really happy.
There you go. Good answer. Smart.
Really.
Ashley, if you're listening, he's a keeper.
I love it.
But no, I think if you've been in a relationship, we've all been there. And actually, the funny part is the shopping thing. I can't really relate to, because Anna, I won't say she hates to shop, but if she does go to shop, she's very precise in what she wants and gets out. My mom, however, I made the mistake one time of going to Target with my mom and sister, and I'll never forget this. They walked in.
It's a white girl's paradise.
It is, but they have these coupons, right? And it's a whole coupon paradise. So they walk in and they're like, we need to find this, 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 and this, and they're going down a whole list. And I'm like, okay. Well, they fill the shopping cart up, and it takes probably about 45 to 50 minutes. And I look at the shopping cart, and Punk, there are 7 items in the shopping cart. After 50 minutes of shopping and looking through these coupons and stuff, and they go up to the register, and I'm thinking, all right, well, 50 minutes went by. I got to look through the electronics, the toys. It was when fidget spinners were just coming around, so they had like samples out in the toy aisle, and I was having a great time, right? But anyway, so they go to check out. Punk, it took them another 45 minutes just to check out because of all the coupons that they had to scan. Now, I will give my mom and sister credit. They walked out with stuff like cat food and dog food, and if you've ever had to price that or whatever, it's somewhat pricey. And they walked out and they spent like $1.18 for all 7 items.
Jesus.
Yeah, but 60 pages of coupons later, and this poor girl. They have one girl working the self-help checkout aisle for people who inevitably walk to the self-help thing and can't help themselves. And so this poor girl had to basically shadow my mother while she was there, because there were so many times she had to enter in a store code just to get past the screen. Yeah, it was interesting. So 2 hours later, we had spent $1.18 and gotten 7 items. And yeah, that's, I guess, my most memorable thing. But
God.
Yeah, I guess we've all been there. Luckily, Anna recently went and did her hair probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I got to stay home for that adventure. I didn't have to go out, but I think we've all been there. But anyway, moving on. A little bit about my weekend, I guess. So I guess the best way to put it is it was relaxing. Anna and I pretty much stayed home throughout the weekend, which was nice. Saturday, we went and did a couple of small errands, picked up a few things, got dinner. And then Sunday, we didn't leave the house. Sunday, we literally chilled here, and it was nice because have you ever heard of the show The Last Ship on Netflix? Or actually, it's on Hulu. It's super good. And we burned through probably about 8 or 9 episodes of that, and they're like an hour a piece. So that was pretty much our day. And then we got dinner, and I played a couple of video games. It wasn't very much at all. Nothing worth talking about. If I played anything that was worth talking about, it was those mobile games. Clash Royale and Clash of Clans. I'm sure you've heard of those.
The only one that I play right now is Animation Throwdown.
Okay. Yeah. I have that downloaded. I actually haven't played it a lot. Is it worth getting into?
It is worth getting into. You just got to power through the first few chapters and stuff, and then once you get into a guild, generally we have our guild after a guild rumble. We'll start getting ready people and then start adding people. So if you start playing more often, then we'll make you join our guild, because it's like a top 200 guild in all the world. So
nice.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Nice. I might have to look into that. And I gotta tell you, man, I'm all about being competitive in video games, but there are a couple games I play with which the clan is just way too anal about stuff. Mm-hmm. They treat it like a job, and people are sitting there listing, well, I'm on here 30 hours a week, and I do this and this and this, and I just want to be like, well, I'm sorry, man.
And those people probably dumped at least $400 into that game.
Oh, at least. At minimum. Yeah. At minimum.
The bare minimum, 400.
Clash of Clans is pulling somewhere between $10 and $15 per user. And if you think about all the people like me who just don't have the money to put in it, I mean, to make the average 10 to 15, yeah, it's something serious. But I digress. They're making good money in some way, right?
For them.
Yeah.
I got a fucking piece of it.
So, all right. So there's a section I really like in a podcast I listen to, and I want to kind of take from them a little bit and kind of bring this up. I think this is fun because anybody can interact with it and anybody can answer it. Basically, we're going to call it the roundtable question of the week. Every Monday, we'll give a set question. And just throughout the week, I'm curious to hear your answers. Punk and I will give our answers. I view it as like giving it throughout the week as you have more time to think about it. I want an initial answer from you right now, and then maybe we'll visit it again later on in the week and see if you've changed your mind at all. But here, it's pretty simple, right? Everybody remembers prom, right? Or remembers the time around prom if you didn't go, like me. I actually didn't go to my senior prom. If you had one superhero to take with you to prom, who would it be and why?
So I just answer.
Oh. Oops. Okay. We had to cut there. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Thanks to good old Mr. Doodle.
Thank you, Stan.
So,
you are.
just to reiterate the round table question, you have to go back to prom and go for one night, and you get to bring one superhero with you. Now, you can take this a couple different ways, right? You can take it as a legitimate date, or you can take it as a wingman to get someone at the prom. However you want to look at it. One superhero, you got to take them to prom. And I'll let you think about it, because obviously I wrote the question, so I've had a little bit of time to think about this, right? I can only come up with one solution. My date, or well, I won't say date. The person I would take to prom would be Spider-Man. And all right. So I have a theory. I have a couple theories behind this. With the recent direction of the cinematic universe and Marvel, the Spider-Man is a high school senior. So one, he already fits in, right? He's already got that going for him. Two, I don't give a damn about the prom. I just want to hang out with Spider-Man. Screw everything else that's happening at the prom. My thought is, I get to go hang out with Spider-Man for 3 hours. The prom be damned. I'll get a girlfriend later on or whatever. I want to go hang out with Spider-Man, and that's kind of my theory. What about you, good sir? If you don't have an answer, let me ask you this. All right, so right off the bat, are you thinking you want a superhero to go as your date, or are you thinking you want to bring one as a wingman, or what's your thought process there?
I'd probably take Star-Lord because he always has the tunes.
Yes.
That's what makes a good prom, good music.
Okay. That's a good one. That's actually super good.
Good music's going. You always have a chance to be within a Bible within another woman.
You know, so. I'm sitting here thinking, and almost any Guardian of the Galaxy would be a good argument.
Yeah.
In some way.
Rocket Raccoon. Women love raccoons, fuzzy little creatures.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Until they find out they hiss and
yet he's repulsive enough to where the women will go to you.
That's true. He can do a.
So that he draws them in, and then it's instantly like, oh, you're rude. You want to dance? Yeah. Yeah. I think we've stumbled upon something here.
I think we have. And Baby Groot, a pocket Groot. Come on now.
Right.
You can constantly be like, you know what, baby, I got a little bit of wood for you, and then he'll pop out. You know, good stuff right there. Already in like Flint.
Oh man.
Not Michigan though.
I can't help but think that I didn't think deep enough about this. All right, I like that. All right, so for those of you listening, please take time, put it in the comments, write it on our Facebook. I'm utterly curious about your answers.
And to see why you would bring them.
Right.
That's fun.
Right. Because there are a lot of different thought processes. But I think it's interesting that between both of us, we never named one girl. All right. So now it's got to be asked. If you had to take a female superhero as a date, and I haven't even thought about this. This may be something we have to think about. Anyway, so after the show here, before we post the YouTube video, I'll be posting a post on Facebook that you can comment on. And just give us your thoughts on it. I'm utterly curious. And if you guys know me, once I start thinking about something, it's hard for me to stop. So this will be that thing. I'm trying to think of what female I would take, and it's really difficult.
I'd say Harley Quinn. That shit would be lit.
That shit would be dangerous, though. Like,
it would. She'd probably beat the shit out of every woman there, but that's okay. She's doing it for her pudding.
That's me.
That's me.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna have to come back to that. I need to think about it. But all right,
I'd take Gal Gadot. She's
right.
one woman in my eyes.
Yeah. You know, the one I keep coming back to, though, to be honest with you, is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Like, I
She'd
get
be the
that.
most presentable.
The thing is, though, I want to avoid it because I can't help but feel like that's just the epitome of a dateable female superhero. And I'm trying to come up with something unique, but it's like...
Black Widow's gonna cheat on you. She has tons of contact. She's probably sitting there trying to sweet talk the Russian mob to get information out of why you're actually have problems. So that's not gonna work.
Right.
So and then all of a sudden she leaves you to go save the world with the Avengers. You're screwed.
If I can step away from the cinematic universe and go to the comic books, I think Spider-Gwen would probably be
Spider-Gwen would be
probably be up there for me.
Black Cat would be fun.
Yeah. I could actually, yeah.
Say a few more times. Come on.
Yep.
Yep.
Preach. All right, we got to come back to this one because now I'm thinking about it. There are a lot of interesting answers. Anyway,
not She-Hulk though, because She-Hulk will just break the rest of your fucking night when you get home.
Oh yeah.
Not good.
Like I couldn't consider her or regular Hulk like for the like wingman thing. Like
Hulk smash! No, I'm not trying to tell her what I'm gonna do. Fuck.
Although it would be a pretty cool party trick, right? If you show up with Bruce Banner and then you're just like, hey.
Watch what he does when he gets fucking whiskey.
Yeah. What's this? All right, so kind of transitioning here. Something I want to try to do at least once or twice a week is talk about either a game that's brand new or an upcoming game. And I know you and I have a lot of insight, not just in playing games, but also the people who create them and such like that. So I haven't told you the game. I know in pre-show I was telling you I had a game for you that I want your opinion on and stuff. And I am actually curious about this because I feel bad, but I want this game. So we'll just jump right into it. Man, the E3 preview for the new Spider-Man game looked so good, it's not even funny.
I know.
And I've been on an emotional roller coaster with the Spider-Man game series ever since the second one on the PlayStation 2 where you could finally touch the ground and run along the city. You remember the first one that came out where you couldn't go like below the 30th story on buildings?
Yeah.
Or you die? First off, I don't understand that concept. Like, in what world does Spider-Man die when he touches the street? Second off, all right, so that was overall bad, right? The combat in that was laggy.
Dogs and water.
Right. The premier attraction about that game, though, was you could swing from a web, and that was like the first one, and they were like, "Whoa, cool!"
Yeah, yeah, and you were above the rooftops constantly, like you just going rooftop to rooftop.
Right. So then they brought out the second one, which introduced the city itself, because you could run along the streets and stuff, and then start swinging. So you go from ground level and jump, and all of a sudden wind up on top of the Empire State Building via swinging. I got to be completely honest with you. Out of the 40 or 50 hours that I can sit here and think that I put into that game, I believe the only mission I beat was the one where you actually catch Uncle Ben's killer.
Yeah.
And then from there on out, I just couldn't stop swinging around and exploring and stuff. I never did the story or whatever. But I got to tell you, that was probably the best Spider-Man game to date for me. Then we went to Spider-Man 3. And they tried to introduce more combat, more villains than anything.
I did like the web shot, the web where you put the two webs to the thing and you slingshot yourself through the entire.
Yes. Okay, I remember that.
That was
yeah, and it was cool because it wasn't just a prompted thing. You know, you couldn't just. It's not something that you could just use at certain parts and buildings. You could use that wherever.
There was only there was actually only like 3 places you can really do it in, because you had to be right next to these 2 posts or whatnot to be able to do it.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else then.
And then they had a few other ones though. They did have the next one with the Web of Shadows and all that stuff. They had different stuff going on, but Web of Shadows was just like you're screwed in one area, and then it was fun for a little while.
I never had fun with that game. Then we skip forward a little bit to The Amazing Spider-Man, which came out on Xbox One for me. Yep.
Yeah.
The first one I thought was good just because it was kind of like the rebirth of the series, right?
Yeah, it was back to like the original like open world free roam.
Exactly. And on top of that, they started adding kind of a new world movement, which is customization in video games.
Yeah.
So, like the suits and stuff like that, I'm sure you remember. Then the second one got more advanced on the suits, but I don't know much else that differentiated besides the story, the second video game and the first video game, in terms of The Amazing Spider-Man.
Do you remember the one before it, Spider-Man Dimensions? Remember that one?
What was that like?
That was where it was like 3 different styles of Spider-Man: the noir Spider-Man, the future Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that one was a really cool idea, but you didn't really get to enjoy each world. They didn't really build each world like I really would have loved it. And that one still has potential today if they try to do it. But that new one coming out, I understand what you mean. I feel like cheating on my Xbox already just to play it.
Yeah. No, I thought it looked exceptional at E3, but I'm hesitant to get all excited about a Spider-Man game because, once again, the thing I find that I do is I grab these games, I play through the first couple missions. Okay, the combat's cool. This is cool. Look at all the different web shots you can do. Oh, this is awesome, whatever. And then I just explore the damn city for the next 15, 20 hours when I move on. Yep. And I guess in that sense, the game is almost like Assassin's Creed to me, where I can honestly say I've never finished one, like all the way through. For better or for worse, I just get distracted by the side stuff and like the old lady whose purse gets stolen and you go chase after her. And for those of you who have seen the new Spider-Man movie, those small crime things kind of fit this new age Spider-Man better than the whole big city falling apart, explosions out of buildings, stuff like that, right? So I think this game would be better suited for someone like me, who isn't always super story driven
it does
when it comes to video games.
They look nice though. They're really polished.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that also goes back to your preference as a gamer too. Because like Mountain Dew, a guy who we both play with, is obsessed with side quests. Like if you ever play a game with him, he has to, like Borderlands is the one I always go back to. And he'll tell you about this. He has to hit every side quest. If he misses a side quest, it's like he can't move on. and he goes back and does the side quest. Me personally, I just get distracted by the open world effect and going around and exploring, not necessarily quests at all. So I don't know. I guess it depends on your overall preference as a gamer. But let me ask you this. Okay, so let me ask you this: is the $60 worth spending to try this game and see if it's as good as it looks?
It can't be any worse than the last two. So, yeah, I would say yes.
Right.
If you're a fan, you have to have it, regardless.
Right. So I guess the last two is why I hesitate, right? It's I won't say it's as bad as the Call of Duty syndrome where eventually you just learn and you stop spending money to see if it gets any better. But it's got to be somewhere close to that. I mean, you what do we get these every 2 years? And
This one, I think, what was it, 4 years?
no.
Ever since Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out.
Shit, has it been 4 years already?
I think it has. Yeah, because they had to reboot it completely because Sony got hacked
Right.
that one time.
Right.
And all of that information about the Spider-Man universe and Marvel talking to them, they went a different way.
Right.
Which
Wow.
I'm going to add to that. I'm really pissed because I wanted to see the Sinister Six. So Marvel, fucking make it. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Feel bad.
No, you know, it's funny. Excuse me. As a Spider-Man fan, I want to see the Sinister Six for so many reasons. But you know what the number one reason at the top of my list is now? I actually want to see Paul Giamatti on screen for more than 5 minutes.
Doing a full Russian accent.
I can't. I still can't get over the fact that they boosted that up so much, man. I was so excited to see Paul Giamatti, and he was literally like half of the trailer, and then they were just like, "Oh, here he is. Oh, end scene. Oh, he's dead. Okay, moving on." I was like, "Hello." But that's another discussion for another day, I guess. But okay, so in your expert opinion, the new Spider-Man game is worth at least getting and picking up and looking into, right?
If you have a PS4, you owe it to yourself to get it regardless, just because it's a brand new IP for your console.
Right. Okay, so let's move on. It's at this section in the show. Every show, I'm gonna have a joke for you, Punk. And so here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna tell you the joke. You're gonna rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, and you're just gonna let me know if it's funny and if you would reuse it, right? So this one's actually a short one, and I can't take credit for this as much as I want to because I actually think this is pretty good. I literally went to Reddit, went to a random subreddit that involved jokes, and scrolled down and clicked the 18th one I saw. I said to myself, I'm going to click the 18th one. And by the way, this is something I've learned from my wife. If you don't know what to do, pick a few numbers and kind of work around them. For instance, on Netflix, if we don't know what to watch, we'll say, all right, we're going to scroll down 5 rows and go over 13, and whatever show we hit, that's what we're watching. And actually, that works a lot. But anyway, I digress. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Why do riot police like to get to work early?
Because they all live in Baltimore. I don't know.
It's to beat the crowd. Come on, right?
It's good.
How lucky did I get? All right, so first I need 1 being Amy Schumer and 5 being old school Adam Sandler. Where would you rate that?
I'd rate that a 5 George Carlin.
Okay. All right. I'll take that.
It's a solid joke. It's got a good punchline.
Yeah. And you know what I like about this? It's short, right?
It is.
A lot of the good jokes anymore are like very, very long and take a while to kind of go over and stuff. But this, you could just pop this out randomly at dinner and get the whole table laughing. So, yeah, I really like that one. But anyway, okay, that's it for joke time. And I guess the other question I'll have to ask you about it is, would you use it yourself?
Yeah, yeah. You can use it yourself.
Okay, great.
Those of you watching, use that for your friend. Give them a good little pick-me-up, seeing as how it's Monday and probably the worst part of the week.
Did you see the Facebook post I actually posted for us, by the way?
I didn't see that yet.
No, man. See, you're not looking at our Facebook enough. That's what I need everybody.
I got it on my phone.
All right. So after the show, you got to watch it, and I'll bet you'll laugh at that too. But anyway, moving on to a little bit more of a controversial topic and something that people tend to get a little bit upset about.
I love controversy.
No matter what system you come from, whether you think Sony makes the best console in the world, or you think Microsoft can eat Sony alive, one thing that remains true between consoles is an overall problem growing, which is spam bots, which will add you as friends and then proceed to message you. Now, I've got a special treat for you, Punk.
What do you have?
So I knew you would do this. I knew the first thing you would do is like look this up. But I bring this up because over the weekend something did happen.
Yeah.
I was sitting there with my wife, by the way. I need to make this perfectly clear.
Did they ask, "Hey, are you around?"
Okay. We'll get to it. All right. All of a sudden I get added. Now let me also say I haven't turned my Xbox on for probably a month or something like that. I turned it on so it could update, and then left it on in the background while it updated and switched to my Amazon Fire TV. Started watching a show. Well, I guess it finished updating and showed I was online. As soon as it went online, 7 people added me as a friend. Not a second before, not after. And I know it was right as I came online because they all did it at once, right as I came online through my mobile app. And so they all added me, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, one of two things is happening. Either one, it was super delayed, and I know these people, or two, that's just an automated system like, oh, he's on, get him.
And they all have 0 gamer score.
They all have 0 gamer score. They follow anywhere from 300 to 400 people, have like 2 or 3 dumbasses following them that have actually accepted it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's obvious because they're messaging you while they're offline, right? And they're never online. And of course, the intro line is always like, hey, I'm a 22-year-old female from Miami, and I've got a crazy idea. I want to do a webcam show and stuff like this. So I knew about these. So I started responding to it, like with questions and stuff. These things are actually pretty smart. I've got to give them credit. Some questions they couldn't answer, right? So like it would say, my girlfriend and I were just texting. She's a bit of a slut and I'm not. And I would say something like, oh yeah, well did she sleep with so-and-so? Like make up, like do a celebrity name or something like that.
Yeah.
And it would just say, no, I'm just visiting from California. Okay, that question didn't render with it. Okay, so I got to find out what'll render. And then it says something like, I've got a wild, crazy idea. And I'll say something like, oh man, I hope it involves paying money. And it'll say, oh no, it doesn't involve money at all. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. It actually picked up on that.
I think it picked up on the term money. Because most people will be like, does it cost money? Yeah. Money, so I don't want to pay money.
Right. So I was pretty impressed. Because even though, yes, the way you put it, it's a keyword and it automatically has a response when you use that keyword.
Yeah.
I was genuinely like, wow, this is actually pretty intelligent.
It sounded like he actually was talking to you about the money. He's
right.
like, no,
she's a 22-year-old female.
Not buying it.
Right. And you can tell it's a bot too, because it's funny, they all add you at once and it becomes glaringly obvious, but it's always 2 words and then 2 numbers. So it's like fishing guy 37 or running man 92. and it's always like this. And the one I was messaging was like Impish Wimp 97 or something like that. And you could tell it's just these generated names and stuff. But the controversial part comes in. I reported this to Xbox. Now, for those of you who do know me and have watched my stream a little bit, will know that I've had some issues with Xbox in the past. I've made it glaringly obvious that I do not like Microsoft. I hate Sony, and I hate Microsoft just a little bit less, is how I put it. So I have an Xbox One. And they wrote back and said, this could be a legitimate player. There is no proof of botting. Now, yeah, this was through their chat system, in which you can write in and say a little bit further than a report. Because a typical report, you just report it, and then they eventually get it, you hope, and maybe something happens, you don't know. I felt a little bit pissed off for a couple reasons. One, there's a 22-year-old female messaging me while my wife is right next to me. Two, 7 people at once, like really? And I get I haven't been on in a while, and that's probably why, but it's ridiculous. And I was just frustrated, I guess. So I wrote them, and they claim it is not their problem. And I guess I'm just curious on your overall opinion. Like I said, I know you've had experience and you've had it happen to you before. So give me a brief description, kind of your experience and what you think should be done about the problem.
Well, it's interesting to talk about all the scammers and the phishing accounts. And I have talked to Xbox and told them that these phishing accounts are used to gather information as somebody goes from point A to point B, subject to say, like if somebody gave a website to somebody and they tried to search for it on their Xbox, well, things that are actually tied to your Xbox, such as your credit card, would actually carry over later if you choose to go to that webcam, because you go to an unsolicited site by Xbox. They don't know anything about it. So they do know about it because I've sent them countless messages, one of which I can show you really quick. That one says, "Hey, are you around?" Of course, from 8 Orpheus, I did not reply or anything like that. But I get a message from Xbox as I've reported over 50 different accounts. They say, "Thanks for helping make Xbox Live safer for everyone. We took action on one or more of the recent complaints you filed." So it does work reporting them, but you have to use certain accounts. So those of you watching, just say this is a phishing account. Phish is spelled PHISHING, and say, look, this account's been used to take children or teens or gamers to an unofficiated website, and that it's used for adult themes. At that point, they should not have a problem with your report, and they should be able to take care of you as much as possible. Now, Xbox doesn't do the greatest for some of this stuff, but they've been all right with me. And I know Link has some very fun moments, and eventually we will do an episode where he calls Microsoft and talks to them about maybe an issue that might arise in the next coming weeks or months.
Oh God, man. Oof. My calls to Microsoft should go down in history.
They're amazing.
Whenever you train for a call center, they show you the good customer and how it's supposed to go, and then they show you the problematic customer. I have no doubt that in some basement in Seattle, I am that negative customer that they are showing to everybody.
There's a guy with a Glock with something in the chamber just waiting to pull it.
Yep.
Gets him on the fucking phone.
Yep.
He's like, God damn it, who is that? Link. All right. Fuck
it. My God, man. And you know what's funny? A little bit of a sidetrack here. I used to work for Geico, and we worked in a call center. And it's actually hilarious how many people you learn and know by name and by what they do that's really off-putting, I'll say. Like, we had a foot guy that would call, and they warned everybody. And if he got a guy, he would answer, say his name, and then say, go to hell, and then hang up, and then call again.
Nice.
and tried to get a girl. And as soon as he
Real
got a girl,
winner.
he would start talking about feet. It was, yeah. And this guy, literally, Punk, would call every 2 to 3 days. And that was it.
How big are your arches? Oh, yeah. So you say 1 inch? Oh, God. You're a big woman. Are you Serbian?
What does it sound like when you step on linoleum? Oh my God,
I
man.
bet you can't pop any of those popping papers they put in packaging. Try saying that 3 times fast, popping papers and packaging.
Oh man. No, but for real, I have no doubt that my calls are somehow used. And yes, that would be a hell of an episode, or at least a little excerpt that we will have to do for sure. And
Now,
I'm excited for.
The last thing I can end off with the fishing bots. You know you're being fished when the name that uses a failed movie by Arnold Schwarzenegger, Running Man,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably a bot.
Right. True.
Be honest.
True. So the one thing I will add, though, and I guess why it's so frustrating is, people like you and I, right? We get these messages. We're not falling for it.
No.
Under any circumstances.
Oh, hell.
Whether you're in a relationship or not, you're old enough, you're smart enough, you're experienced enough, right? But the 12-year-old guy whose hormones are going crazy and gets this message out of nowhere.
12-year-old man boy, non-binary.
Yeah, right.
So,
that kid is going to click the link. And that kid doesn't have a credit card on the Xbox, but mom and dad do.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just goes from there. And that's the real people they're trying to get, right?
Then they're answering questions about fart fetishes and a bunch of other shit.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know. It's I can't sit here and act all like high and mighty, like, oh, this is so bad for the world, blah, 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 and say all that. But it is kind of scary to think, like, if it was my kid on this Xbox, right? And my kid clicked that link, I'd be furious. So I guess that's just kind of where my reaction comes.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to explain who Cynthia is and why she can fit so many ping pong balls in there. So not a question and answer you want from your child.
Correct. Anyway, on that note, we're gonna be
Mommy, it's fallacious.
Okay.
Yeah,
on that note, we're gonna be scooting on. So, Punk and I do this little pre-show thing. We've determined we get in the Skype call, start getting everything prepared, and then for the next probably 20 minutes, we just kind of go over basics of what we're gonna cover and stuff like that. And today, an interesting topic came up, and we had a strong disagreement, and I want to know your opinion. And I know we have people listening who will know the right answer to this. So
we're swaying them in their Fifth Amendment.
Yeah.
All right.
Basically, somehow the topic of Daniel Craig in the James Bond films came up, and so Punk made the unfortunate comment. And what was that comment, Punk?
Daniel Craig is the best James Bond.
So unfortunate. And from there, I had to inform him that Pierce Brosnan takes it like by so many miles over Daniel Craig. And I have a lot of respect for Daniel Craig. But the unfortunate part is Pierce Brosnan had a movie called Goldeneye, which is probably the best James Bond movie of all time. And Daniel Craig doesn't have that. And so then we got deeper, and Punk made another interesting comment and said Pierce Brosnan most likely wouldn't even be in his top 3. To which I had to hang up. I was mad. I was angry. I went next door. I punched an infant. I came back, and I said, all right, here's what we're going to do towards the end of the show. We're going to do a list of our top 3 James Bond actors. So I want to know, Punk, once and for all, now that you've had time to think and time to reflect on your poor decision making, who are you putting in the top 3?
Gosh. Okay, well,
My list would have to be Sean Connery as third. And the only reason why I didn't want Pierce Brosnan is there is because you like him. I was going to be a dick.
Uh-huh.
But also, Timothy Dalton's character
No.
was actually what Pierce Brosnan's character was supposed to be.
No.
In 1987, after he left,
No.
they began doing all the other stuff. But then I went with Daniel Craig in my first because I love Daniel Craig. Pierce Brosnan had one good movie for me, GoldenEye.
So, just to reiterate,
License to Kill and Living Daylights are
you're putting Timothy Dalton at
Timothy
number
Dalton
2.
over Pierce Brosnan. Actually, I'll switch it around. Timothy Dalton could be third. Sean Connery.
Okay, that's a little better. We're
Then
making a little bit of progress.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Okay, so you're
We're just
Daniel Craig
happy to see
1.
Sean Connery.
Daniel Craig 1, Sean Connery 2, Timothy Dalton 3 for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now for the right answer. Without a question, Pierce Brosnan gets number 1. And as you said before, GoldenEye. Like I maybe a lot of people argue it's just a luck thing that you got that movie. Okay, fine, whatever. For me, the iconic James Bond is Pierce Brosnan. Now, I will give Daniel Craig 2. The reason I want to give Daniel Craig 2 is I feel in a lot of ways this relates to the Batman series. And I feel like Daniel Craig is what's his face? Who am I thinking of?
You would say that the first 2 original Batmans would probably be, you would think that those would be Pierce Brosnan, which they're classics. The first 2. You got Batman Returns and The Batman. They were good films.
Right.
This would be Daniel Craig's, because there's so many movies, of course, the ones that have actually, done a lot in the box office, they would be the Christopher Nolan.
Right. Christian Bale.
Okay.
So I compare Daniel Craig to Christian Bale in that regards.
Way better actor, though. Daniel Craig's way better than...
For sure. But yeah. I'm talking with regards to the series.
Yeah.
I think he's iconic. And like you said, there's a lot more box office activity now than there was when Pierce Brosnan was around, which was what, late 90s, early 90s, late 90s.
I just think the serious writing is what I like. Pierce Brosnan, he's great. He's a great Bond. He could have been so amazing, much more than just GoldenEye. It's just the directing and the writing of the last few films were fucking horrible. They were so bad.
So, not only the direction, but the character himself. I feel like Daniel Craig is actually more of a hitman. More of something to be afraid of.
Well, that was Ian Fleming's Bond. Yeah, he's very rugged around the edges. He wasn't a pretty boy. Pierce Brosnan wins in the pretty boy aspect, definitely. Because, he was clean.
I don't know about that. Are you going to tell me Daniel Craig doesn't try to play up to that?
I think a lot of his stuff is more rugged. He's just a rugged Bond, because after the movie Layer Cake came out was why he even got the role in the first place.
When I think the difference between, I don't know, I get a mental image of Pierce Brosnan. I think the button-down t-shirt or button-down dress shirt that has 2 buttons undone and a sports coat. When I think Daniel Craig, I think a full-on suit leaning on a classic car. I don't know. I think he does play that pretty boy, but I think the thing that Daniel Craig has over Pierce Brosnan, and the argument you could make there, would be the I don't know. I don't want to say rugged, but the kind of like I will kill you kind of thing.
He's got that physicality to him.
Right,
He's
pretty,
and he's the buffest Bond we've had. That's for sure. He's a big dude actually.
Yeah.
So,
Connery gets third.
of course, Connery's great though.
You
Connery.
you gotta associate Connery with Bond in some way, I guess.
Did you know that Pierce Brosnan actually would have taken over way before GoldenEye? But because his Remington Steel contract actually went through for a 5th season, he didn't actually take it over Timothy Dalton.
I did hear that.
Yeah, I thought that was impressive.
You know, the Timothy Dalton thing, man. I
know.
I can't believe you gave Timothy Dalton second. What about Roger Moore? Roger Moore's got to be above Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton gets third for me. I just switched up the order.
Okay.
So Sean Connery gets second, definitely. Because
are you giving Pierce Brosnan fourth? If you got to go that far?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're putting Roger Moore fifth? Like 2 spots below Timothy Dalton?
Yeah. I tried really enjoying them. I could. I even went back and watched them all.
Oh. Do you think that's because of the era?
I think it is because of the era. So I mean, I guess
late 70s, early 80s, right?
Yeah, I would be somewhat, idiotic because I'm considering it's because of the era. Technically, I mean that would be, in all actuality.
Yeah, but in reality, when it comes to guys like you and I who are millennial movie watchers that will go back and are willing to watch the 60s, 70s, and 80s movies, the late 70s and early 80s, like, especially for this film series, weren't great.
Some of those cutaways for the dancing.
Right. Yeah.
Like not the acid jeans, but the tie dye and shit.
Who knows? But anyway, let us know why I'm right and Punk's wrong, and then any other comments, I guess you can hold to yourself, and we'll move on. So, part of the magic of this show is it's not just about gaming and movies. Sometimes we step out of our virtual worlds and look into the real world. And in the real world today, we had a bit of a shakeup, a bit of news, and I need to preface this. I'll go ahead and say it. It's the whole Chris Pratt and Anna Faris breakup. And I need to preface this. Normally, I'm out of date when it comes to celebrity couples, right? I hear every now and then about them getting together, but no matter how big the celebrity is, I just don't care about their relationships because a lot of them are just jokes, right?
Yeah.
But with that said, when I woke up this morning and I looked on the internet, people were posting things that said, "Love is dead. Attention everybody, love has been canceled for the day. Do not use the word love to me all day." Somebody, now this is great. This is actually pretty funny. Somebody wrote up a 4-page letter to Facebook to remove the love reaction for today.
Oh my God.
Yes. This is actually affecting people. Now, prior to the recent events of the whole Chester Bennington suicide, I would honestly say that very few celebrity things have actually got to me. The Chester Bennington thing did, just because I grew up listening to Linkin Park and I knew about some of his struggles and stuff like that. So that sat with me. But even then, I didn't write a 4-page novel to Facebook to explain why one of their reactions should be gone for today. I mean, I don't know. What's your opinion on this? Because obviously it's unclear exactly why they're doing it. They both came out on Twitter. They both said, "Hey, we're really sorry, but we couldn't make it work." They were both very civil, of course. You know, PR-wise, they're gonna be. And
I think Chris Pratt pretty much got the hell out of that Scary Movie.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta wonder what Anna Faris is like in real life, right?
Oh man, I can imagine she's probably like her character on Just Friends. which is a loosely acid trip, much like Lisa Kudrow's character on Friends.
Okay, yeah, I could picture that. And you got the whole blonde thing going on.
Smelly cat.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right.
Oof.
You know, I
Probably named his penis Little Tucker. I don't know.
well, they have a son. They have a son. Did you know this?
I actually did not know they had a son.
I didn't either. This was part of it, and they were like, they both, of course, were very civil online, and it's not like they're gonna blow up at each other, and if they do, that would make even more news, you know. But
Yeah.
they have a son, and I guess he's like 2 or 3, and so the whole Twitter post was about, you know, we want our son to succeed, blah 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 blah.
He will. He's in Hollywood.
But that was my first thought I went to too, right? Is I want to know exactly what these people are like in real life and why they couldn't work, you know? I actually picture Chris Pratt as kind of a quiet guy, like super reserved, probably doesn't say a lot. And the reason I say that is I was in drama class and did plays for the school and stuff, and you find that the way people act in character is completely opposite from how they actually are, right? Chris Pratt's that funny, random, outgoing personality, and recently with the Guardians of the Galaxy, a lead man.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's like that. Like if they're sitting at home, I don't think he's super talkative. I think he just keeps to himself.
I think you're right, because I think truthfully the only time we've seen him this sporadic, this jovial, I guess that's the term that exists. I don't know if it exists, but we'll use that. So jubilant about doing things, so outspoken. I don't think his character is that. No, I really don't, because I think that he's playing off or doing a character much like the long withstanding Ryan Reynolds has always been the way he is. He's always been outspoken, very, very sarcastic. So he's doing what I guess he saw Ryan Reynolds doing, because that will get you more people to start talking, outgoing. They'll be like, oh, he's fun to hang out with on set, stuff like that, because he wasn't that fun on this set of what's the movie with him and Angelina Jolie, James McAvoy, The Wanted. It was like Wanted. He wasn't that jovial, like that real serious and that like exciting and wanted to jump around and joke with people. He really wasn't. Parks and Recreation, he's pretty funny, but even then it doesn't seem like he's very like excitement based, very all over the place. But now he is, and I think that's just because it's his character and Star-Lord, and that's his persona now. That's what he's doing.
Right. And then on the opposite side, I think you're right. I think Anna Faris is probably batshit crazy at home.
Yeah. She. I mean, look at her fucking eyes, and just that. Yeah. It's almost. I bet she's
like Amanda Seyfried's psychotic cousin.
Yeah. I think she's probably the same person that the guy who calls wanting to know what women's feet are is pretty much. She's probably that person. I don't know. She's
like a female Mickey Rooney. We just don't know it yet. 20 years from now, she's going to snap.
Ooh, you don't want to be a female Mickey Rourke. That's too close to Mickey Rooney. But yeah, she's like maybe 2 months away from being Mel Gibson. Like that's.
Do you think she'll go all religious with it?
Like, I think she will. I think she'll find Christ.
Now, what religion? You think she'll go Christianity?
Maybe she'll do a Russell Brand and just go, "Oh, I'm of the world."
You know, can't you picture her though coming out and like stating publicly she's in a relationship with Buddha or something like that?
Probably. She found it on a fucking one of those fortune cookies.
Her Twitter page just becomes pictures of Buddha.
Yeah.
She goes. She goes that deep.
I don't know why every time a woman gets dumped in Hollywood, they become an activist. So I think she'll be the next one.
You know what? You're actually kind of right. And that's another question we have to visit, right? This has to be Chris Pratt initiating, right?
I think he pulled the plug. I think he left. Well, look at his character. I mean, he's got to be very playful. He's got to do a lot of stuff. And I bet you it pisses her off, because when's the last time she had a movie that did decent? Yeah. I mean, those kinds of things in Hollywood will jock an entire relationship to straight the fuck up. It will hurt it.
You know what couple amazes me, and
Which,
I kind of don't like them, but the whole Jay-Z Beyonce thing,
yeah,
right? You can't really pick which one is bigger, and every time one does something, the other one comes out and does something, and I couldn't tell you who's worth more between them right now, but they make it work
I think
somehow.
I think I saw it on there somewhere that Jay-Z was worth more still technically because of all of his work behind the music.
Oh yeah, and not to mention he backed Dre with his headphones, and
Yeah.
he owns like several sports, several athletes and stuff like that. He's got a whole agency that represents some athletes and stuff. So
That's really
he's got his money wise, I think, or music wise, I should say. I think Beyonce's bigger right now.
Yeah.
Overall, it might be arguable, but right now I think Beyonce's bigger music wise. But money wise, I'd say they're probably still pretty close. But
I think if she stayed out of politics in her music, she would be a lot richer now.
I don't know. Just because I think the reason she's selling a lot of music is the politics. But
all the tension right now within America. She can sell a CD like nobody's business. But after
I know the name of Beyonce's most recent album, which is Lemonade, and I guarantee you, had it not been for all the fallout from that shit, I wouldn't.
yeah,
So she's got at least that. I didn't buy it, but I know it, and
Yeah.
that says something, I guess.
it's hard
But,
to say, but I the stuff that she was with Destiny's Child, I thought that was fun stuff back in the day, like to hear at like a teen center.
Right.
But listening on the radio now, there's nothing really I can connect with, and that's what I think the problem with the political stuff is. When you do something on a political standard, you do what Green Day did and fucking lose your shit eventually.
Right.
Because you start alienating your fans when you do that. When you can't find common ground with half of your fans, either you make that up or you lose what you had, and that's what I think. In the long run, it will hurt her if she doesn't change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if it hurts her, I don't think she's begging for rent money.
No,
But,
she's too prideful.
all right. All right. So I have one other thing to bring up to you that I managed to find on the wonderful World Wide Web. Actually, a couple things, and they're both via Reddit. One is kind of a cool little interesting thing I found that made me laugh, and the other is something that has to do with gaming and Twitch and stuff like that. So we'll get to that in a minute. First, I want to tell you the little interesting thing that I found. And maybe you've heard this before. I know several people have repeated it. I even have on Facebook. Half of Blink 182 is Wink 91. How's that sit with you, bud? Now let me tell you,
What does it even mean?
there were 20,000 upvotes on that post, and it was the third highest post on all of Reddit. Half of Blink 182 is Wink 91, and now you know. And I'll bet you never thought of it. I haven't. But anyway, moving on. We're going to talk about a little bit of Twitch news. A somewhat famous female streamer, pulls probably 100, 200 people a stream, Twitch partner and everything, got busted because she was streaming CSGO and her cheats got exposed. Now, some cheats with FPS shooters on PC can be an aimbot, which is it's not visible. Your mouse just automatically snaps to it, and if people aren't looking at your hand and mouse, they can't tell the difference, basically. There's a certain limit, like if it's super obvious, But for the most part, if people are cheating on Twitch, it's hard to know because that's the main one they use. This particular streamer, though, could see the enemy team through walls, know their health, and know where they were about to go, what weapon they had, what they had drawn, and what they were about to do.
So she had E-tags.
Yes, essentially.
Pretty much like Code 9.
Yes. Yep. And so, inevitably, right, she started panicking and freaking out. And I got to share this to our Facebook page because it's a 6-minute clip, but it's the most enjoyable 6 minutes. Because, you haven't heard the best part, trust me. She gets very, very upset. And I'm going to just pull it up on the PC here real quick because I want to make sure I get the name right. Let's see. Girl gets caught cheating, and like I said, I'll share this to the Facebook page so everybody can watch it and enjoy it. So give me just 1 second here. Yeah. So she starts panicking, right? And she knows she's been busted, and there is no way to stop it, and she's live in front of 100-something people. So she's panicking, right? And she just tries to play it off. At first, she says a line, something like, hey, you guys ever get that weird glitch in CSGO where you can see through the walls and see people? And then, so she's playing it off like that. She's like, this must be a bug. This is weird. I can't believe this is happening. And then all of a sudden, it snaps and it hits her. And she goes, oh, Clara. And she screams it really loud. And all of a sudden, she starts just cursing this girl out named Clara. And she's like, I let that bitch use my computer one time, and she downloaded these cheats on here. And she's like throwing Clara under the bus, whoever this poor Clara girl is.
Poor Clara.
Yeah.
My baby sister.
Yeah. I told her not to download this. I've got to leave this match and stuff. So she leaves the game, and she's like, she deserves an Oscar. Let me explain this to you. She deserves an Oscar like no other because of how she kind of played it off, and she started blaming this Clara. And then eventually she's like, I gotta log off. I gotta go call Clara, blah, blah, blah. Well, she hasn't come online since. Because she knew she was busted. I mean, and there have been tons of stories about people getting busted on stream, their cheats accidentally pop up or whatever. And I won't say I understand that, right? But this was the funniest because of how she played it off. And I'll share it to the Facebook. So if you guys got a second, be sure to go check that out. It'll give you a good laugh. The clip I'm looking at right here is 4.5 minutes. So it won't take much of your time. And I'll have to share that with you, Punk. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up the show. I'm going to edit it. It's about 1:30 local time for me and for you as well. So I'll start editing this, and I'm sure by the time you guys are listening to it, it came out somewhere around 5, 6 o'clock tonight. So I hope you guys have a great night. Before we leave, though, I'd like to do something at the end here, Punk, if you don't mind. And much like in the beginning, how we did a review of our weekend, I'd like to give some sort of preview for over the next day what you're going to be doing. Because for those of you who don't know, we're going to be trying to upload these as much as possible. Because I feel like there's enough shit in the world that we can cover.
Gaming.
Yeah, exactly. In gaming alone, not to mention you start bringing in love being ripped off Facebook. We can find something to talk about. Exactly. Yes. Whisper it. Yes. It'll make you feel better.
I see the arches in your feet.
Bring love back. Anyway.
The arches back.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you plan on doing tonight, especially referring to gaming, if anything.
I'll be broadcasting probably Sniper Elite 3 with Clooney. Sniper Elite 4, actually, with Clooney. He's just updating his game. I already got done broadcasting Injustice 2 before we started our record of what's going on. Our record, yeah, because that's what it is. Hold on while I have a stroke. Okay,
our record.
Yeah, and the video games I would like to talk about that we're probably going to end up talking about through the time of this month are Agents of Mayhem, releases on the 15th, which is made by those who make Saints Row. Sonic Mania Collector's Edition, which comes same thing, 15.
Yes. That
Uncharted
might be our one for tomorrow, to be honest.
Women's Feminism Movement in Uncharted, 8/22/2017. Madden NFL 18 comes out the 22nd. We will have whatever issues, and not to mention the race baiting storyline.
We'll just have a laggy show to honor that.
Yeah, and just have a
every now and then the word touchdown will just pop up, and
Hail Mary every once in a while. Minecraft Story Mode, the complete adventure, the 22nd, the same as Madden. Naruto Shippuden, Ultimate Ninja Storm Legacy on the 25th. Everybody's golf, because it's no longer actual golf for the PS4. It's everyone's golf. You can't leave anyone out. It's very important. Ark Survival Evolved gets a physical copy and an actual release date, the 29th of August.
They have a collector's edition coming out for that as well.
They do. Yeah, they do.
And the only reason I know this is my neighbor, who is dating my sister-in-law, is a huge Ark fan. Like, this dude, I need to look up the hours before I say a number, but I'd guess somewhere between 1,200 and 1,300 hours. And now that a physical copy is coming out with a collector's edition and stuff, he's super pumped. So
I think I only had like almost 100 hours, maybe.
I know I had over 100 hours building a tribe, and yeah.
And then you get trolled, and then everything's taken away from you. That's the best part.
Well, I played with a group of serious people. Punk. These people were on 18 hours a day. Nothing was happening to that camp without somebody knowing.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I couldn't. They took shifts. They took night shifts, Punk.
Jeez.
And they called me at 2 a.m. They said, "Hey man, can you get on for a couple hours?" I said, "Hey man, no."
We need that meat from that T-Rex we saw down by the river.
That's what it is. And you know what the worst is incubating eggs.
Oh yeah, no, that's a pain in the ass.
Yo, you gotta.
I tried that
on and watch
once.
this egg.
I fucking quit. I fucking the second that somebody was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do
hundreds."
Yeah, it takes too long.
They lagged the game out from how many they had. It was insane.
Such a pain. The other game that comes out on the 29th is a game we already touched on, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Yakuza Kiwami comes out on 29th. The Sexy Brutale.
Nothing says Nintendo like a weird Japanese name.
That actually, the Yakuza one might actually be PlayStation 4 more than likely.
Okay, that I could picture. Yeah.
The Sexy Brutale.
My point is that's not an Xbox game.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. They wouldn't dream of doing it. They're too in bed with Sony. The Sexy Brutale Full House Edition is coming out on the 29th. And Life is Strange Before the Storm. We'll have some more high school drama on the 30th.
Is that like a part 2?
Prequel. It is a prequel to the first Life is Strange. And that's going to be interesting. We're going to be talking about that.
Worth a playthrough, by the way.
It is. Yeah, Life is Strange is worth a playthrough if you love millennial drama. There's tons of it. It is a good.
I will say, even though it was filled with just that typical bullshit millennial drama, it was well written.
It was still good. Yeah, it was about as best as it can be written for a game of that caliber. It was about the best I can do, and it's really, really good. It's worth the playthrough, and it's worth the money right now too. It's cheap. You can get the first one.
I think I actually got it free on their live deals or whatever. But anyway, so that I think covers the month of August, right?
That covers the month of August. That's everything in August.
Right. So what about maybe not like Life is Strange sized titles, but maybe bigger titles that are coming out later this year?
Ooh. Well, you have the first of the week, I'm sure you already know, in September. Very important game in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you probably can name it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could. I'm pretty sure it's your favorite game of all time.
Whoa.
And it's getting a sequel. It's so weird that it's been 10 years since Destiny. Isn't that weird? Doesn't that feel odd, everybody? Now, for those of you who don't know, I gotta say this. I gotta go on my little rant about Destiny, and I swear to God we could do a 2-hour show on everything wrong with that. First, I need to preface and say I'm a huge fan of Bungie. I like Bungie. I still like Bungie. Even after the disaster that was the release and the following subsequent 3 months of Destiny 1, I am still a big fan of Bungie.
Bullshit!
However, their claim was that Destiny was going to be their 10-year game. A lot of games come out now and they want to do this and they fail. Then there are games like League of Legends and Overwatch, which will probably last 10 years just because of their model and how they're made up before they have to move on to a new one, or they just keep going. A game like League that's already 9 years in could possibly go 20 if they wanted. A game like Destiny went 3 and not even really, because they had a $60 DLC come out last year. So basically, with a game and base DLC, I think it made it, what, a year and a half, 2 years? And then they had to revamp to a new DLC, and now we get a whole nother Destiny.
They sold the same CD like 7 times. I work at GameStop. I would know. It's not worth it.
Yeah. And by the way, you hate them, and you're upset with them, and you can't believe it, but my God, is that company smart. My God, is that company smart.
Oh, yeah.
Because look at what they did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk all the shit you want. They had one goal, make money. And guess what they did? They make bank. But I digress. So you said, I think it's the 6th, right? September 6th?
6th, yeah. September.
Yeah. So that's Destiny. What else we got on the docket?
Followed by Destiny. There's 3 more games that actually come out. One of which is Metroid: Samus Returns.
Okay.
That's different. That's a Nintendo title.
I haven't played a Metroid game in a little bit.
I can't wait for one on the Switch.
You know what I picture when I picture Metroid is having a guys' night where you get like 3 or 4 guys over to the house.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of beer and stuff, and you just slam through a Metroid game.
You talked about a Halo in Nintendo. That would be Nintendo's Halo. Would be Metroid. I mean, that's about as close as you could probably get on.
Zelda.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's the style, because Metroid is first person. So
right. Okay. Yes.
The route that they want to go, I'm pretty sure the next one that they want to do for the Switch would be first person, like they did for the GameCube. So.
Yeah. Not that Nintendo's ever had a forte in first-person shooters, but
yeah.
I hope it does well. Honestly, if I get a Switch, I could picture getting one probably early next year, something like that, maybe even Christmas time.
Yeah.
And if I do, I got to say that along with the Zelda game is my 2 must-haves in
also,
the foreseeable future.
They're great games to have. They're such a good game. Any one of those games are good to have in your library of video games. They're they're really good products. And we have 2 more at the end of September. Forza Motorsport 7.
Okay.
Very important. If you're a racer, these are like the epitome of racing games right now. I know.
Can't we just skip the Forza titles and go straight for Horizon? Can't we just? Horizon's so much better than Forza.
Yeah.
I ever since I played the Horizon game, the Forza games, and I get they're the same. There are people who are gonna say, but Horizon's a Forza title. They're definitely 2 different classifications.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because Forza Motorsport, that specific brand, is all simulation. It's not supposed to be arcade. It's very strict with what you can. It's not strict with what you can do to the car. You can do a lot of stuff, which is realistic. But with Horizons, it's that blend of simulation and arcade style, which is what makes it so fun, so fast paced, and just a joy to play with your friends.
Right. And I mean, I'm glad that they have 2 different studios working on it. So the one studio is halfway through, or maybe even close to done with the next Horizon. I appreciate that, but. I'll put it to you this way. I'm not buying that Forza game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Honestly, you could put it in front of me, tell me to try it for free, and I wouldn't do it. It just doesn't entertain me. I'm not a huge racing game guy to begin with, but if there was one series that gets me to buy it, it's Forza Horizon. But anyway, so you said we got one more at the end of September, right?
One more title.
What is it?
It's a classic It's a classic 2D side scroller with arcade style action and made by an independent company, and they've done a stellar job with the product and all together. It is Cuphead for the Xbox One.
Now, you I've talked to you about this, and you know, we have conversations, and I'm like, hey, what games are coming out? What are you excited for? And for some reason, the very first answer that I always get is Cuphead. So you're gonna have to explain this to me, your logic behind this.
Cartoons in the 1930s have always been fun to watch, and the fact that you can actually control what your cartoon looks like and what it does, like with the animations they created, it pretty much makes it a game you could replay and it feeling like a newer cartoon every time. And I really like the Cuphead, just the version of it, the bosses that you fight. It was just something I saw about 2 E3s ago that I just was like, I gotta play it. I was like, that right there, there's no other game right now in the market that looks like that. It's a specific style of art that is that died out very, very long ago, and that's what I feel like I just have to tackle. It's much worth it, more than I would say Destiny 2 is.
Just sneak that in there at the end. Oh my God, man.
By the way, just to let you know, this is a toss-up, and it's a little snippet, a sneak peek for what you would say, for $30. Road Rage is coming to the Xbox One. September 17th, September 19th, actually.
Oh, interesting.
And, it's somewhat similar to Road Rash. That does ring a bell.
Odd.
See what happens with it. But yeah, Cuphead.
We're back to Cuphead. Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more about these bigger games like Destiny, like Metroid, and Cuphead as the time rolls on. But all the same, it has been a pleasure, sir, doing this first episode with you.
Oh yeah, it's always.
I think, barring some sort of major catastrophe, we will be back to do another one tomorrow. Our hope is to do these throughout the week. Obviously, sometimes time restricts that. Life gets in the way, and it's not always possible. But we want to try to bring you as many as possible. Because like we said before, this is basically our crapshoot hour, where this is basically what Punk and I would be talking about if we were in an Xbox party right now. So we figured we'll just make it public, and we'll see what comes out of it. But all the same, my name is Link.
I'm Punk.
And we hope you have a great rest of your night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Not that one. See you later.